All right, let's get into this, boys. So we are going to get into this video from Timothy Kane. Timothy Kane is the Fallout creator, or one of the Fallout creators. And he has decided to make a video. And don't worry, ADHD crowd, it's not long. Okay, it's not long. The video is, do developers know what gamers want? What do you guys think? Can you answer that in the chat? Come on, all the people who are asleep, wake up. Do you think that developers know what gamers want? Do you think that they know what do you think they know what you want? Zelosi says not modern ones. Gearmaster says nope. Marius, nope. K Prescott, nope. Bounty Wolf, nope. Wolf Tomahawk says yes. Okay, I can understand it. I can understand it. So I would say it's about an 80-20 split, in my opinion. I would say 80% of developers seemingly don't know what you want, and 20% do. But you guys want to know the real answer? You guys want to know the real answer? It's not an 80-20 split. You want to know what the real answer is? The real answer is that every single developer out there knows exactly what you want. Every single one. Every single developer knows exactly what you want. They just don't want to give it to you. That's the real answer. You're saying bull? It's not bull. That's the real answer. They know exactly what you want. You want to know how that's true? Because they have teams who all they do is study analytics. That's all they do. They study analytics. They study customer bases. They know exactly what you want. They know exactly who their customer base is. They're just choosing to ignore you as a customer. And they're chasing the modern audience. But they know exactly what you want, man. They do. They just don't want to give it to you. They rather give you what they like. That's the problem. But we're going to get into it. Let's see what he's got to say. Let's start it off. Here we go.
Hi, everyone. It's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about, do devs know what gamers want? This video is a direct follow-up to my video last week, do gamers know what they like? Before I made that video, I just mentioned I was going to do it in a comment section almost 2 months ago. And Lyre Noir said, personally, I think do devs know what gamers want is even a better question. And you know what? They're right. So both that video...
Somebody said they thought this was Jaffe at first. Oh, that's a terrible pause. Holy shit. I feel like I just gave him a stroke. Wow. I just gave him the dead eyes, bro. Orthopedic says, who is this guy? All right, guys, listen. I keep giving you guys context. This is one of the creators of Fallout. This is one of the creators of Fallout.
So I made that video, and then I made this one pretty soon afterwards. Keep in mind, these were made back in November. Not even that late November, kind of mid-November. So I don't know what the comments were on that other one, and I have no idea what the comments are going to be in this one. But I think it's better that way because I want to give you the raw, unfiltered response to, do devs know what gamers want? And here it is.
The OG Fallout. Let me reiterate, the OG Fallout, not the modern Fallout.
No, we don't know what you want.
Bullshit.
We have no idea, seriously, what you want.
Bullshit.
I almost did this as a short. I was just going to do a short and go, do devs know what gamers want? Nope. And then cut it off. You can stop here. If you want to know why it is we're so absolutely confused about what it is you want, keep watching. Because I know some of you are like, it's stupid. We know what you should know what we want. We don't. Here's the longer answer.
I mean, you do, though. You do. Because, quite frankly, even if you don't understand the conversation that's happening, even if you say that you don't, maybe we don't explain ourselves very well. Maybe there's some gamers out there that don't explain themselves very well. At the end of the day, Statistics don't lie, and gamers will tell you exactly what they want with their wallet, especially now more than ever. So all you got to do is look at the games that were super successful, and gamers will tell you what they want for the most part, right? But I truly believe that what it is that they know what we want. They are just choosing to not give it to us because a lot of them, unfortunately, are preferring what they want over what the gamers want. Developers are making games for themselves. Look at Dragon Age of Veilguard. Dragon Age of Veilguard, the developers over there, their idea of success is whether or not the studio is happy with it and whether or not the journalists like the game. That's it. That's what they consider a success. Do we like it? And do the journalists like it? Never once do they mention the gamer at all. Never once.
And it's all kind of can be summed up as because you don't know either. But you got to remember, I'm saying the collective you. I wish English had the collective you. Southern English does. Y'all don't know what you want. Let me dive into that. This is a deep dive on why y'all don't even know what you want, which is why we don't know what to give you. First off, many of you only tell developers what you hate.
False.
Great. You said what it is you don't want, but what is it you want? I have an entire video.
That is such bullshit, bro. You know what it is that the developers, they hear what we say and they hear us say what we want, but they choose to ignore it. They choose to ignore it. We say all the time what we want. Well, when I play my video games, I tell you guys, I give you different ideas. Oh, maybe this could have been better. Oh, this is really good. Wow, the setting, oh, this is really, whatever. You know what I mean? We tell you what we want. The thing is, they take that information, they filter it, and then they choose to ignore all the stuff that we say we want, and they only focus on what we're angry at. And then they try to say, oh, we're harassing them or whatever. Also, what it is, too, is that you have developers that don't even get all the information. A lot of the information that makes it to the ears of the developer is curated and filtered by community managers. So community managers will listen to what you're saying, cut out all the good shit, only put, some of the negative or whatever's going to fit the narrative, and then give it to the developers, But in any case, here we go.
On how to give good feedback, and I'll link it below. But I can just say, when you keep saying, I hate this in games, I hate this feature, I hate these kind of characters and all that. Great. What kind of characters do you want? If you hate sarcastic characters, well, guess what? There's an entire realm of non-sarcastic characters. But what is it you want? Do you want funny characters? Do you want serious characters? Do you want characters with a lot of background? Do you characters that with very little, that you don't want to spend a time in a wall of text dialogue?
You know what's funny too? These questions that he's asking, you realize that these questions all depend on the kind of game you're playing, right? Like, nobody's going to go into Call of Duty and expect a fleshed out backstory for every single operator in Call of Duty, right? Nobody's going to be expecting that. So for a game like that, simple characters is probably for the best. But unfortunately, they're trying to take this information and make it the norm for everything. Is he serious? Yes, he's serious. Hath not seen, he's 100% serious.
What do you want? That's why you have to tell us what you want and not what you don't want. But wait, there's more. Even when you say what you want, you're often extraordinarily vague. You will say, I want a better game. I want better AI. I want a better UI. Yeah, I'll just slide the better slider from okay to great on all of those.
It's fucking guys. Yo, he's so... It screams disingenuous. It also screams like he's talking from an ivory tower. You know what I mean? Like the guy is clearly talking from an ivory tower. He's strawmanning every single argument he possibly can. And he's trying to pretend as if you don't know how to communicate. It's you that don't know how to communicate. They're the ones that know how to communicate effectively because they're the developers. They're the geniuses. They are the ones in the ivory tower. But you little peasant, I'm looking down on you from my ever so gay tower because the guy is clearly clearly drinking the rainbow sauce. It's obvious he thinks he's above, above the peasant gamer.
I have an entire video on why developers need context to your feedback. That's never more truer than when you give feedback, when you give, especially positive feedback. If you don't say what you're talking about, it can be really vague. For example, what is better for you mean in a game? Or when you say, how is that AI bad? What are you talking about?
What am I talking about? Well, very clearly, let's look at the game Avowed, right? Let's look at the game Avowed, the game where Leon was trying to argue with me on Saturday Night Hypnosis and tell me that nothing was wrong with the AI. Or Atreus was trying to argue with me and be like, well, everything looked fine. I think you're nitpicking. No. Let me explain to you why the AI looks terrible. And then I went into it about the actual, like how the fight scenes, the bear, even the weapon swings don't even hit nothing. The NPCs, they look off into the distance like they're just fucking staring at a god or something in the background, and you're beating them up and they don't even realize that you're there. Or the fucking bear just starts doing a disco dance and sliding on the floor. Or let's talk about Star Wars Outlaws. When you're doing stealth and you go for a takedown in Star Wars Outlaws, and next thing you know, you're disco sliding to the other side of the map. Yeah, I mean, we could talk about this all the time, but you're not listening to any of that. You're saying that that's not good feedback. Like, how can you say that? It's very clear that when we talk about certain things, we give our opinions and we give detailed feedback. And sure, absolutely, there are some people that don't give you proper detailed feedback. Listen, some people are autistic. Smashed AT deserves to have his voice heard. Even if he's autistic, you got to understand how to read people, even if they can't explain it very well, right? So as a developer, not everybody's going to be able to explain it very well. So you got to be able to read the room and understand what some people are saying, right? You just have to do that. You have to be good at reading the room. Otherwise, people who are not as quick with it, like Smashed AT, unfortunately, will be left behind. And you don't want to leave people like that behind. Next thing you know, a little crazy white girl finds them and then wants to ruin their life. We can't have that. Can't have that, man.
What are they not taking cover? Are they just running straight at you shooting? What do you mean? When you say you don't like a UI, what is the friction point in that UI that you're encountering? What is it that's bothering you? If you just say that UI is dumb, it's not helping. And trust me, it's not just gamers who do this. I've worked with people who've literally said that out of their mouth. They're like, that looks dumb. Great, I'll get right on that.
So wait, if you've worked with people who have spoken like that, then why is it so shocking when gamers speak like that too? Like, why is that shocking to anybody? I feel like gamers are probably going to be the ones to give you the most vague feedback because they're not developers. They don't know how to speak in code. They don't know how to speak to that extent, and they try their best to explain what they're feeling. It's your job to decipher that to the best of your ability. But let's be real. You're not trying to do that. Most developers are not trying to do that.
Sometimes, though, and I've talked about how some UI issues are really an underlying system mechanic issue. This comes up in the videos on encumbrance, where you can have a really good UI if your game supports encumbrance, but you take encumbrance out and suddenly that same UI is terrible because people can carry more. And suddenly there's a lot more things in their inventory. And the UI you were using for a limited inventory doesn't work for a UI with an unlimited inventory. So that's why you need to be very specific about what it is you didn't like. Do you really hate that UI? Or do you hate that you can vacuum up everything? Or do you want to be able to vacuum up everything, but you just wish the game would somehow organize it better? Be specific. Here's the one that really gets me and that many of you refuse to acknowledge.
Here we go.
You all, again, I wish English had a plural you. You all do not agree on what a good feature is. Go back and watch both of my encumbrance videos. They're linked below. Or watch the video I had on fast travel, or even the video I did on providing game.
I thought we weren't supposed to be generalizing. What's with this you all shit? What's with that? What's that? What's with that y'all? You all don't know what you like. You bastards. He's talking to me like he's my dad, bro. The guy's fucking pointing at the screen like you all, you kids, you stupid youngins, you don't know what you want these days. It's all you all's fault. You all. It's like, bro, what are we doing, man? Relax.
Game difficulty, different options in there. Read the comments on it, which I know a lot of you don't do, and you complain that YouTube doesn't do a good job of sorting them. Just pick one of those videos, set it to show all the comments, and scroll for a few minutes. You will find that some of you literally say you will not play a game that is lacking a particular feature, and then keep scrolling, and you'll find people who hate games that have that feature. And it can be anything. Fast travel, VO, walls of text.
Wow, so different gamers like different things? Wow. Wow. Color me shocked. Color me shocked. Gamers like different things. That's unbelievable. Shout out to Vara Dark in the chat. What's up, Vara? How you doing? How you doing? Wow. That's incredible. I didn't know that. I did not know that. Gamers like different things. This is why, listen, this is why I tell people all the time, man, the best thing in my opinion, and this is all my opinion, the best thing a developer could do is to make a video game for a certain audience in mind. And then when you make that video game and you complete it, pitch it to the audience you had in mind. If that audience accepts it and it does very well, you will be successful within that particular audience. And then what will most likely happen is that word of mouth will spread and people would give it a chance based on what that particular audience said. The problem now is that they're making video games and they're not making video games with an audience in mind. Most developers are not doing that. Most developers are making a video game, checking boxes, and they're trying to put as much of the inclusivity as possible, but they have no fucking idea who the game is for. So then what they do is the game comes out and they're like, okay, it's time to find our audience. Guess what? You got nobody. You got nobody because you made a game for everybody and nobody wanted that. Because like you said, some people are going to see all these inclusive options and they're going to be immediately turned off. And other people are going to be like, oh, that looks great. But then they play the game and like, oh, it has this in it? Yeah, that's kind of stupid. So make the game for your audience that you have in mind and let the game carry yourself through. You're not doing that anymore. The only people who are doing that is like From Software, Saber Interactive, even Game Science now. They made these games knowing exactly who they were going to go for. They didn't make these games and say, oh, I need to figure out who the audience is going to be. No. They made the games knowing, okay, we're going for this audience right here. And then what ended up happening was the game spoke for itself. And then people started buying it up in mass. Word of mouth carried the game. Word of mouth is still, to this day, the most powerful advertising tool that you can have. But if you're making a video game and you're just trying to make it for everybody, yeah, there are going to be a bunch of people that are going to be unhappy, and then that negative sentiment is going to carry through. Word of mouth is going to spread about the negativity, and you're cooked. You're cooked. Anyway, let them finish.
Story mode. Some of you require it, and some of you skip games that have it. And you have reasons for doing it. I'm not saying you're wrong. What I am saying is there is no possible way to make a game that will make all of you happy. What's interesting to me, and this channel has made me really acknowledge it, you don't even agree on the fact that all of you are disagreeing. Some of you don't acknowledge.
No, we do. We do. See, the problem is you developers, you look at the disagreements, and you know what you call that? You call that toxic. That's the problem. You look at the disagreements. You look at the fighting. You look at the in-house conversation. And you call it toxic. You call it toxic. You call it harassment. Sometimes you even call it bigotry. when all it is gamers doing what they've been doing since the beginning of time, which is fighting. Because we don't agree on a lot of things. But it doesn't matter, because that's why we had different games for different people. And we had games being made for certain audiences. Right? The Call of Duty kids are not going to go fight with the Diablo kids, right? The Dark Souls kids are not going to go fight with the Animal Crossing kids, right? Because it's different. We're not all just going to follow the same fucking mindset. Anyway.
There are any other game players out there? There was a video I did where I said people frequently want better graphics, but a lot of you ask for better graphics. And someone said, and I quote, "No one asked for better graphics." I guess you never read a review and you don't go on any forum boards, because yes,
of course, there are some people that want cutting edge graphics, and there are also some people that want gameplay over graphics. People like different things, which is why you have different games that have different graphic settings or different art styles that adhere to a certain audience.
Yes, they do. And keep in mind, better graphics, sometimes they're just talking about they want a higher resolution. They bought a 4K monitor and they're upset they're not getting a game in 4K. Sometimes they want a farther view distance. They're upset that it clips really early, or that there's always things blocking their view. They don't get a nice wide view of anything. Sometimes they just mean more creature variety or more location variety. These are all better graphics. These are all things that require a lot more art time, a lot more things to be loaded in, a lot better optimization of your engine. These are all going to the category of better graphics. And all of you, I guarantee, have asked for some form of better graphics at some point when you're responding to a question of what did you like and dislike about this game.
So, okay, so what I'm thinking is this is massive levels of cope. And all it is somebody who's probably been doing this for way too long. He looks a little tired. And I think what it is that he's reading into this way too much. He is taking in way too much information. And you just got to go back to making a game for a certain audience that you want to adhere to. That's it. Stop trying to focus on making everybody happy, because once you do that, you end up down this rabbit hole of making a video at like 2 o'clock in the fucking morning in your room in the dark, complaining about gamers not liking everything you're doing. You seem to be taking it real personal.
Now, keep in mind, too, sometimes you guys talk about art style, but everything I just mentioned, even if the art style stays the same, you will need more polys and more textures and more everything just to give you more creature variety or more location variety. So just that means it falls under the aegis of better graphics, but means more work, more artists, more time, more money. And many of you who say, well, I don't really care about graphics. I'm one of you. Graphics have never been high on my list of what I care about in a game, but many, many, many players are attracted to a game by its pretty graphics, even if they stay afterwards because the gameplay is so good. Pretty graphics open the door. I've told some designers under me, sometimes it's like dating. Your head may be turned by the prettiness, but you stay because of the personality and the chemistry. So it's like that with games. Make a pretty game, more people will at least get their eyeballs on your game. Then they're safe because of the mechanics. And then
yeah, but you can also make a pretty game without being cutting edge graphically. If you have a really good art style, you could draw people in really well without being like crazy about it. You know, the best idea I could think of, to be honest with you, would be Ori and the Blind Forest. I feel like Ori has one of the best art styles I've ever seen. Seriously. I really believe like Ori has one of the best art styles I've ever seen. Even like somebody in chat said Hi-Fi Rush. Hi-Fi Rush was pretty nice looking, but it's nowhere near as good as Ori. You know, so it's like there's ways to draw people in without being cutting edge, and I feel like if you focus on the style enough, you could definitely find your way there. You know,
and later on, they'll deny ever even looking at your game because it was pretty. One of the things I want to point out is many of you argue against things that would make a game that even tries to provide more things for more players. And I've talked about how design by committee is bad, which I agree with. And usually that leads to making a game that's so bland and vanilla that no one can really have a an argument against it, but nobody really feels like playing it. What I mean by that is many of you literally have argued that games should have fewer game options. I'm not even talking about game difficulty, just fewer game options. I have a video on game options. I'll link it below. Again, read those comments. Many of you are going, yeah, I hate when games have a lot of options. I don't know what to set. The designer should have decided that. Why are they making me do that? That just means they didn't have a strong vision. Not ignoring for the fact that many of those options are there to let more people play the game. I'm colorblind. That's a disability. There are games I literally cannot play because they have puzzles or information that I'm supposed to pick up on that's color-based, but there are no color blindness options. The worst ones of these are ones that don't say up front that they do that. And then later I'm playing the game and I realize I'm playing it wrong, or I've encountered puzzles that I literally cannot solve, and there's no option to do so. Super frustrating. So let me sum up, because I've been ranting for a while. I get that you, the individual, want what you, the individual, want. But you have to realize that you, the individual, are not very good at giving developers feedback, and that you, the individual, are not everybody the game's being made for. Many of you aren't even...
I don't, when he says that you are not good at giving feedback to the developer, I got to be honest with you, I do not buy that shit at all. I don't. I think you guys as the developers are not good at listening. It could be a combination of the two. I will give you that. But I truly believe that it's the developers that are not listening these days. And a lot of the time, you're not even the one that are listening. It's your community managers. We can't even get to you most of the time. We can't even get to you because the community manager is filtering what we say, and they're saying, hey, yeah, the fascists are back up to it again. Hey, look, the bigots are up to it again. They're angry again. Mind you, there could be some good information there, but you're choosing to ignore it, or you don't even get it because your community managers are filtering it for you. That's a big problem in gaming right now too. And I think that it's going to solve itself little by little as journalists start to become less and less relevant. Thus, their best friends, the community managers, start to become less and less useful, and things start to shift around the other way. But I really feel like you just are not listening, or you're choosing not to listen, or you have a preconceived idea of what the gamers are saying, so you're choosing to ignore it the moment you hear anything related to your preconceived notion.
Even in the majority, and I hear you. I don't think I'm in the majority. I like a lot of niche games. I've made a lot of niche games. And so that's kind of what I'm saying here is game development is hard on its own, technically. But this lack of consensus among game players about what they want takes that difficulty to a whole new level. It's that much harder to make a game that you want to be popular, that you want to have a lot of sales, because most of you don't know what you want. Those of you that do know what you want are very vague at expressing it. And many of you don't realize that what you want isn't what a lot of other people want. This is why, for most of my career, I just made what I wanted, what I liked. I hoped other people would like it, but it was me and the team just trying to make something we'd like that would make each other laugh, make each other have fun. And we were like, gee, I hope people like this. We weren't sure. We didn't care. And when marketing would ask us questions like, what's the demographic for your game? We didn't know. We didn't have an answer. And most of us, we didn't even care. We're like, I don't know. Why don't you go home and play the game and tell me what you think, who would like it? Many of you like my earlier games. Maybe
that's kind of a bad answer. If you're making a game, again, that just proves what I said. That proves what I said. If you're making a game and you don't know who your audience is at the bare minimum, that's crazy. If you don't care who your initial audience is, what the fuck? What the fuck? That literally proves what I said before. Like, you guys are not making video games with your core audience in mind. You should at least have an idea. You should at least have an idea. Don't tell the people, asking you a question, who's your demographic? You're like, I don't know, I don't care. Bro, that is a narcissistic thing to say. It really is. That's a narcissistic thing to say. Oh, I don't care. What the? That's crazy, bro. That's absolutely insane. And that just proves the problem that we are experiencing right now in the industry. They don't care. You guys literally just admitted it on video. You don't care about who you're making the game for. You need to do a little more research. You need to have a little bit more of an idea of who your game is made for. Start somewhere. Start somewhere, right? Start somewhere. Because you can't be talking about putting in all these accessibility options. You can't be talking about putting in all these options in general and then not know who your game is for. That just doesn't work. I mean, am I crazy for thinking that? I feel like that just doesn't work. How often is that really going to work? 1 in what, 100 if they're lucky? I don't know. Anyway, all right, that's pretty much it, boys. We're done with this. I'm gonna catch up on super chats and then get into the waifu battle. Let's do this shit, boys.